जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा। विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा। तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे। गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
रसिक हो नमस्कार. सहर्ष सादर करीत आहोत ज्ञान साधना गीत. कवी प्राध्यापक प्रवीण दवणे, संगीत विनय राजवाडे.
शिवाचे मंदिर सुंदर मानव्याचा ध्यास निरंतर. सत्य शिवाचे मंदिर सुंदर मानव्याचा ध्यास निरंतर. गुरु शिष्याच्या नात्यामधली प्रतस्थ मन साधना. सदैव उजळो आपुली ज्ञान साधना ज्ञान साधना. अज्ञानाचा तमः सारुण विश्वात्मक स्वर येई उजळून. अज्ञानाचा तमः सारुण विश्वात्मक स्वर येई उजळून. शूरवीर संतांचे पूजन जागविते चेतना. ज्ञान ज्योतीने
नमस्कार. माननीय कमलेश प्रधान सर, आपणास वाढदिवसाच्या खूप साऱ्या शुभेच्छा. आपणास दीर्घायुष्य लाभो व आपण या शैक्षणिक क्षेत्रात खूप सारी प्रगती करू, हीच ईश्वरचरणी प्रार्थना. सर, आपण प्रगती करतच आहात. त्याबरोबर आपल्या महाविद्यालयातील विद्यार्थी, आपल्या महाविद्यालयातील सर्व शिक्षक यांचीही प्रगती होते. त्याबद्दल मी सर्व शिक्षकांकडून आपले आभार मानतो, आपणास धन्यवाद देतो व पुन्हा एकदा या वाढदिवसाच्या निमित्त आपणास खूप साऱ्या शुभेच्छा देतो. थँक्यू.
Namaste and good evening everyone. I, Ms. Trivedi, welcome you all for the celebration of the 40 glorious years of Satish Pradhan Jnana Sadhana College. For its contribution in education, excellence and modernity. In the view of 40 years, we are presenting you all with 40 unique programs. So here we are with the fourth program by the Department of Accountancy on the topic Post-Corona Opportunity for the Young India, with the motive that this is the right time to encourage young committed entrepreneurs in India who will not just create life-changing solutions but also employment opportunity. First and foremost, I take this opportunity to call our principal sir, Dr. Chandrasekhar Marathe, who is the backbone and the continuous source of inspiration, to present his opening remark. Over to Marathe sir.
Hello, good evening. I welcome you all to this lecture on opportunities during COVID situation by Prashant Kapoor, who is an IT consultant. I welcome all the participants, and I also extend my best wishes to the accountancy department, who has taken a lot of efforts in organizing this and getting date of Prashant Kapoor. Now the fascinating part of this particular lecture is the title itself. What is the post or during Corona or post-Corona, what are the opportunities for the young minds? When I was seeing for last 1 month, we were in a condition to find out what is the IT platform for TY, and that really clicked in my mind that there are several opportunities in the educational field itself to provide solutions to the various needs of the educational institutions. So while I was considering IT solution or software solution for conducting TY examinations online, it occurred to me that there are similar conditions which can be explored during this Corona situation. Just now I was talking to my friend who is also head of the Department of Accountancy, Jayendra Pitre. We had exchanged the ideas that the young mind, young talent can come up with some technical efforts and software platforms for many vendors who are around. So, for example, a vegetable vendor can come up with some technical platform wherein he can put what vegetables he has, and he can reach to the many houses, and all ladies from different parts can post the order on the mobile, and that delivery can be given. So such kind of IT opportunities are also come up during this corona situation or corona or this pandemic situation. And like this, I find this is an apt title for today's program, and expertise of Sri Prashant Pol will definitely guide our students, and they can come up with certain ideas that could be explored in this pandemic situation. I welcome once again Prashant Pol, IT consultant, who is going to talk on this in this lecture. I also wish best of luck for the organizing committee of this accountancy department. And with this, I conclude, and I wish this lecture will come up with new opportunities for the young minds. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like Dr. Neeta Sahni, the ex-principal and the retired HOD of Sociology Department of Satish Pradhan Jnana Sadhana College, to share her experience of the 34 glorious years with this prestigious college. Over to you, ma'am.
मी प्राध्यापक डॉक्टर नीता साने, सतीश प्रधान ज्ञानसाधना महाविद्यालयामध्ये 1986 पासून 2020पर्यंत समाजशास्त्र विभागाचे प्रमुख म्हणून आणि असोसिएट प्रोफेसर म्हणून काम करत होते. या महाविद्यालयामध्ये सुरुवातीला जॉईन झाल्यापासून आता शेवटपर्यंत खूप वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारच्या जबाबदाऱ्यांमधून, म्हणजे जशी डिपार्टमेंटची जबाबदारी होती तसंच बाकीच्याही अन्य जबाबदाऱ्यांवर पार पाडत असताना विद्यार्थ्यांबरोबर जे काही संवाद झाले, विद्यार्थ्यांबरोबर जे काही एक कम्युनिकेशन त्या ठिकाणी झालं, त्याच्यामधनं मी स्वतःला घडवत गेले. कारण वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारचे विद्यार्थी आपल्या महाविद्यालयामध्ये येत असल्यामुळे शिकवत असताना प्रामुख्याने जसं हुशार विद्यार्थी पुढे गेला पाहिजे हे जसं एक महत्त्वाचं काम असतं, तसंच जो विद्यार्थी अगदी तळाला असतो तो सुद्धा नापास न होता पास झाला पाहिजे ह्याच्यासाठी म्हणून जी काही एक ह्याच्यासाठी म्हणून जे काही काम करावं लागतं. त्यामुळे वर्गामध्ये शिकवत असताना कायम जो शेवटचा विद्यार्थी आहे त्याच्याकडे लक्ष ठेवूनच शिकवण्याचा आम्ही प्रयत्न केला. विद्यार्थ्यांना वेगवेगळ्या विषयांचं अभ्यासक्रमाबरोबरच इतर विषयांचं सुद्धा जे काही वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारचं ज्ञान देणं गरजेचं होतं, ते ज्ञान माझ्या परीने मी देण्याचा प्रयत्न सातत्याने करत होते. आणि त्यामुळे शेवटच्या विद्यार्थ्याकडे लक्ष ठेवून शिकवण्याचा प्रयत्न केल्यामुळे साहजिकच डिपार्टमेंटचा रिझल्ट हा बहुतेक वेळेला 100% लागलेला होता. त्याचबरोबर विद्यार्थ्यांची जी काही वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारच्या गरजा होत्या, केवळ आर्थिक गरजा नाहीत किंवा केवळ भावनिक गरजा नाहीत, तर त्यांच्या सर्व प्रकारच्या कौटुंबिक असतील, आर्थिक असतील, सामाजिक असतील, त्यांच्याशी बोलणं असेल, त्यांचं समुपदेशन करणं असेल, या सगळ्या वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारच्या मदतीची त्यांना जेव्हा जेव्हा काही गरज होती त्या प्रत्येक वेळेला त्यांच्या पाठीशी उभं राहून त्यांना सामर्थ्य देण्याचा आणि त्यांना उभं करण्याचा प्रयत्न ॲज अ टीचर म्हणून किंवा एक त्यांची जवळची व्यक्ती म्हणून त्या ठिकाणी मी सातत्याने करत होते. आणि त्यामुळे ज्ञानसाधना महाविद्यालयामध्ये एक वेगळ्या प्रकारचं जे काही वातावरण आहे, एक फॅमिली ॲज अ फॅमिली म्हणून जे काही वातावरण आहे, त्या वातावरणाच्या बरोबर राहून विद्यार्थ्यांनाही ज्ञानसाधना परिवाराचा भाग कसा बनवता येईल ह्याच्यासाठी सातत्याने प्रयत्न करत होतो. आणि त्यामुळे एक खूप चांगल्या प्रकारचा अनुभव घेऊन मी त्या महाविद्यालयामधून निवृत्त झाले. धन्यवाद.
Thank you, sir. So, for our today's session, we have a keynote speaker with us, Mr. Prashant Pol. He has done BE Honours in Electronics and Telecom and MA in Marathi. He is also the director of the Disha Consultant and Web Bharti. He has more than 37 years of experience in commercial work and also have travelled in more than 35 countries. The Amendment Department in the Meltron Maharashtra Electronics Development Corporation and developed special equipment for the sawmill firing intramural test range of Balasore are some of the highlights of his work. He was also the member of the IT task force of the government of Maharashtra in 1979 to 99 and even was selected for World's Who's Who. Advisor to the several multinational telecom and IT companies, IT task force in the Union Road Transport and Shipping Ministry, members of the governing council in IIITDM, consultant in the Council of Mumbai University, Lokmat, Tarun Bharat, Babek, Ekta, etc. His book 15 Days is published in Hindi, Marathi and Gujarati. This book was also published in Bharatiya Gyanasya Khazana. Its 4th edition has just been published in the office of Mahakosh World Center. It's indeed a great pleasure for us to have you, sir, on our panel. Thank you, sir, once again. Now, the digital platform is all yours. Over to Mr. Prashant Poor, sir. Thank you.
Dhanyavad and namaskar to everyone. I'm really happy and pleased to be with you in this function. When I was told that your college, SPD College, has completed 40 years, and on this occasion, you are organizing a lecture series of 40 lectures, I was amazed because I strongly believe that these days, knowledge is the power. And this is a nice way to empower the students by showing them various dimensions and aspects of the world. So I'm really happy to be here with you. Principal Dr. Marathe sir, my friend my friend Shri Jayant Pitre sir, all the staff members, and my dear friends. We are in a situation which was never experienced by any of us, neither the seniors. This is a very peculiar and very specific kind of condition, which not only our country, but the entire world is basically experiencing this. It's not very good, I can understand. Many of us have lost the jobs. In many places, the actual problem of livelihood is there because nothing is working. And slowly the unlock is going on. And we do not know how much time it's going to take to find out the vaccine. And therefore, the normal life as we used to have earlier is not like that. We have the new normal scenario probably, and we have to, at least in next few months, we have to live along with the COVID. But at the same time, I feel that this COVID has given a great opportunity to all of us, specifically to people in India. I personally feel that whenever such kind of crises are there, crisis always give the opportunity. It's how we look into these crises. To start with, let me quote an example of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. We all know that Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj has created his own Swarajya. And when the Swarajya was only 10 to 12 years old, only few forts, few kille, he took over and he was ruling in a relatively limited area. That time, most part of the Maharashtra was ruled by a Vijapur dynasty. Some part was ruled by Mughals. Some part was ruled by the Govalkonda dynasty. So, Shivaji Maharaj tried to make this area, small area, and converted it into a Swarajya. naturally, under which Shivaji Maharaj was doing that area that was ruled by the Bijapur dynasty. So Bijapur dynasty thought that yes, if these kind of things will go increasing, then there will be a people will rebel, and probably we may not control properly, and hence to totally kill Shivaji's empire, a very small empire, they sent their best person, that is Afzal Khan. Best person in the sense that Afzal Khan was very powerful. He even conquered the Sri Lankan king, and entire south he was considered as a very cruel and very deadly person. So that person was deputed to totally finish the small empire which Shivaji had created. So that was a major crisis. And what Shivaji did, somehow Shivaji played and acted that as if Shivaji is really scared, and somehow it was somehow Shivaji was able to bring Afzal Khan in that Jauli area, and Shivaji was at Pratapgarh. On 10th November 1659, in the afternoon, Shivaji and Afzal Khan met together. Afzal Khan was in in all aspects was much bigger, much powerful, much stronger than Shivaji, but somehow Chhatrapati Shivaji has killed Afzal Khan. That is basically the story which we all are aware, and generally the story ends here. And yes, Shivaji did a great job because by killing Afzal Khan, he not only saved this Swarajya, but also came out as a kind of a very brave king, and who can do a good job for the not only for the people, but he has his own strength. But story doesn't end here. Rather, story starts from here. In the afternoon of 10th November 1659, when Afzal Khan was killed, Shivaji went upstairs to Pratapgarh fort. He only changed his clothes, which were really bloody by all the blood and all. Changed the clothes, met few people, and immediately he went towards south with a very small kind of soldiers, very small army, and he ordered his Sarsenapati Netaji Palkar to go to east side in the Vizapur direction. And there was another Sardar, Dauloji. Shivaji asked him to go to Konkan. So, like a Trishul, Shivaji attacked the Vijapur dynasty. It was a surprise attack, and the whole day and night, Shivaji and these two Sardar, Sarsenapati and Dauloji, they were trying to conquer the area. In fact, Netaji Palkar has reached almost very close to Vijapur, and if he had more army, probably he would have even conquered Vijapur in that time. He looted that area and brought all that loot to Swarajya. Shivaji went to south, and on 28th November 1659, he conquered the Panhala fort near Kolhapur. In 18 days, just 18 days after killing the Afzal Khan, Shivaji has not only conquered so much area, he has more than doubled his empire, more than doubled, and a lot of wealth came to his Swarajya. Now the crisis, which were so deep, so the gravity was too much for the crisis, because Afzal Khan had attacked Shivaji. So in such crisis, Shivaji not only faced, it's not only killed Afzal Khan, but he took that opportunity, and he more than doubled his Swarajya, which otherwise would not have been possible in at least 18 days. Not would have been possible at all. We couldn't find any good example to get an opportunity from the crisis. आपदा में अवसर ढूंढना. Like that, we didn't really find any other example like this. Let me quote a very latest example of India. When this Corona started, news was started coming from China, and patients were also started coming in. Till the time, at the time, Indian doctors realized that they need PPE kits, personal protection equipment, kit, that PPE kits require in a large number. By end of January, India was not manufacturing a single kit in India. All these kits were imported from China. But then, as we are aware that our relationship with the China was also not good, at the same time, the entire world was angry on China that it was a China who has spread this coronavirus. And therefore, it was not good to import all this kit from the China. So naturally, India took a decision. Government took a decision. Government asked various textile companies to start manufacturing this PPE kits. And we made an history. We made records. Today, India is the second largest manufacturers of the PPE kit in the world. Second largest after China. Same opportunity was there even for the US, for Italy and European countries and some other countries as well. Because the corona patients were in a large number, even for those countries. And they wanted PPE kits in a bulk, in a large number. But it was India who considered this crisis as an opportunity, inspired our industry, and started manufacturing the kits. Today, we really have to appreciate this, that by end of Jan, it was a zero manufacturing in India. And now, in September, we are the second largest in the world to manufacture these kits. Our production is almost 5 lakh kits daily, from 0 to 5 lakhs kits daily. And we are not only supplying to India, we are exporting that. We have exported, recently we exported 23 lakhs kits to countries like US, UK, UAE, Senegal, and some other countries. And we are getting more and more orders. Today, we have 2.2 crores order pending. There are 600 textile companies who are manufacturing the standard certified grade of PPE kits. There is a total business, global business, if we can see, for this medical textile, it is called. So it's not only PPE kits, it's basically the gowns by doctors, and all such things are there required by the in the medical industry, healthcare industry. That is around 17 billion US dollar market is there. And now India became the second largest in that, in such a very short span of time. We are exporting the PPE kits to the world. This shows that yes, we can do it. We can do it. We did that. We have shown to the world that yes, we have done that. And all the PPE kits were not the substandard like China has supplied to Italy and to some other countries, which were rejected totally. All the kits were of a standard grade. All the 600 companies who are manufacturing these PPE kits are certified by the government of India. They are not that any Tom, Dick, and Harry can start manufacturing this PPE kit. No, it's not. We can do that. We did that. We have shown the world that yes, if given a chance, we have done that. And that's what I'm saying, that we encased the opportunity. Otherwise, if Corona would not have been there, whether it was stuck into our mind that this is a business, or wherein we would have done something, that medical textile. Yes, but we did that because we have the potential. The students who are working in the economics, they must have read books from Professor Angus Madison. Angus Madison has wrote few books on economics, the world's perspective of economics, and world history of economics, and like that. Millennium Perspective of Economics, etc. Those are his books. He is basically a Britisher, but was more academician, and in the Netherlands universities, particularly the Groningen University, did a lot of work, and his work is acceptable worldwide. He had Professor Angus Maddison had proved with all facts and figures that 1,000 years back, that is in the year 1000, India was having 1/3 of the world business. India was catering 1/3 of the world business. Our percentage of the world, percent share in the world business were more than 32%. And not only that, that year, even prior to that, it was India who was exporting so many things. It was not only the masala and textile. We were exporting so many things. And now where a lot of places excavation and other things are going on, then the world started realizing that yes, it was India. We only know the Silk Route. Prior to that, there was the spice route in the ocean and all. And there were few towns in Europe, particularly in Italy and all, like Venice, which really were survived based on the commission they used to get from all the goods they used to get from India, and they used to sell further. That was what India was doing. That was what India could do it. And unfortunately, after then, all this Muslim invaders came to India. Then we had this, diminishing business. But even when the Britishers had come, our market share in the world was around 12 to 15%. But after Britishers have come, and when we got the independence, our share was only less than 3%. Point here is that yes, we had the potential. We can do this. We have done that earlier, and this is one of the very small example which I have quoted regarding this PPE kits. It's a very small example of many opportunities which we got. That shows that yes, we have the potential and we could do it. We have done that. If we see the scenario in the world, India suddenly in last 6 months become a major power to be considered. When US is thinking to do something against China, to act something against China, because everyone has a very strong feeling and belief that it was the China who has spread this virus and which has disturbed the entire world. So when US started thinking to act something against China, Australia was thinking to act against China, some European countries started thinking to act against China, then they all were discussing with India. They wanted India as a partner with them. This is the Indian strength which has changed the global scenario in last 6 months. It was tremendous change. And many countries are totally bringing out their business from China. China is, we are aware, even today, China is having the maximum market share in the world. China is the largest exporter of almost everything in the world, right from small toys to a very high grade chemicals. China exports everything almost to the world, maybe to US, to Japan, to everyone. But then what Japan did, Japan also took this as an opportunity. Japan never wanted Japanese companies start manufacturing in China, but there are a lot of Japanese companies were manufacturing in China because China production cost was very less. So Japanese companies were there. Now what Japan government said, Japan government appealed all their Japanese companies to come out from China. Japan said that please do not do any business with China. Please do not manufacture anything in China. Come out from China. And for that, as an incentive, Japan government had announced 2.2 billion US dollars as in compensation for the companies who are coming out from the China. They wanted them to either to come to Japan or some other countries. And one of the major choice is India, because we have many plus points. We have a democratic country. We are a peaceful country otherwise. and we have a tremendous tech power. We have the knowledge power. We have the required trend people in India, and that's the reason people are getting attracted towards India. Like Japan, I have told you, Japan is basically, when you talk about the Japan is exporting around 165 billion US dollar goods to China. Every year, 165 billion US dollars goods are exported from Japan to China, and wherein Japan was importing the goods every year from China. That amount is 137 billion. So 137 billion US dollars import, 165 billion US dollars export. This means that Japan was in plus when Japan was doing business with China. Japan was a very rare country who was in a plus to do the business with China. Otherwise, including US and India and all, we all were doing a deficit business with China. But all said and done, even having that, Japan took a decision that no, we do not want to do any business with China, and our companies will come out from China. This is a great opportunity to place like India, to country like India, and the signs are basically are significant, are obvious. We see the signs, we see the indications that how the countries are coming to India. As regards to US is concerned, US business with China is 539 billion US dollars goods US is importing from China. Their export is much less than that. Now, even if the entire import from China may not stop, however, all the experts are estimating that around 50% is definitely will be curtailed. So around 270 billion US dollars business is open, and American companies are literally finding that where they should invest, and that's the reason. That's the reason you must have heard about it. You must have got the news about it that in the COVID scenario, when the world was literally bleeding, world has a problem, entire globe had a problem. In India, we were getting the investments like nothing. The kind of investment which we got in last few months was enormous. You probably might be aware that today we have the largest forex reserves in the entire history. Our forex reserves are 540 billion US dollars. 542 billion US dollars. It's a historical uh, reserves. We have literally broken all the records, and that too also in this difficult time like this COVID. The kind of investment which we got only during, if we say that between April to July, we got 20 billion investment from various companies. Google alone, Google alone had invested 10 billion US dollar. Facebook, Facebook has invested during the same period, April to July. Facebook has invested around 5.7 billion US dollars. This is enormous. Then there is a Saudi Arabia's PFI fund is there. Like we have the mutual funds or we have the provident fund kind of thing. Saudi Arabia has its own fund. Saudi Arabia found that India is the best country to invest, and they have invested 1.2 billion US dollars. The Foxconn, the company who manufactures the Apple phones, Foxconn in this last 3 to 4 months had invested 1 billion US dollars to India. A French company, Thomson, had invested 142.8 million US dollars. You recently might have heard about the Kia Motors. Kia Motors had launched Sonet only in around a week back or a couple of weeks back. This Sonet launching is a worldwide launch along with India, but that's not the end of the story. The Sonet, which they have launched worldwide, will be manufactured in their Andhra plant, and from India, this Sonet will be exported to the globe currently. This is the strength of India. And for that, Kia Motors has recently invested 54 million US dollars in their Andhra factory. Hyundai and Samsung, very soon, they expect that we may have very good news from Hyundai and Samsung, who are going to invest a huge amount in India. Walmart. Walmart has also invested a big amount in India, 1.2 billion US dollars. Reliance Jio, in this difficult period, difficult time, Reliance Jio has got a total investment of 1.5 lakh crore rupees. 1.5 lakh crore rupees. They are debt-free company now. My point here is that this is an opportunity which we could see, and we have to engage this opportunity. World is looking at India. We are a very stable country. We are a prospering country. We are progressing country. We are a democratic country, and we are a techie country. We are a country with knowledge, with intelligence. Everyone acknowledges this, and therefore, if we can take opportunity, I mean, we can really engage this opportunity. We can jump, and that was a quantum jump. Today, we have the fifth largest economy in the world, and if things will go properly, within next 2 to 3 years, probably we may be the third largest economy in the world. And when the economy grows, it's not only the country grows, it's all the common people like you and me will certainly grow, provided we have to engage this opportunity. You might have seen the various videos from China, wherein these Chinese people have a lot of innovative products. The products are very small. It's not a rocket science. It's very small for our daily use products, but it's an innovation in that. We have this innovative capacity. We could have done that. But what happened, unfortunately, long back, 20, 25 years back, when the economy was open in India, that time the people thought that probably service industry is better for India. And we said that, okay, we will progress with the service industry. Yes, we progressed with the service industry. A lot of service industry came here. A lot of development centers came here. But development centers came here. We couldn't make a company like Oracle, company like Facebook, company like Microsoft. We couldn't make that. We still were the white collar laborers. We were good developers, but we were not owning the company. And what happens during this kind of difficult period? How US economy is still strong? Because all these companies have headquartered there, and all that revenue goes to US. If I buy a simple license from Microsoft, that revenue goes to US. If I buy a simple license from Oracle, that revenue goes to US. If I launch a campaign in Facebook, revenue goes to US. And that's why US is a strong economy. In spite of all these bumps and problems, still US become that, because this is called a manufacturing hub. India, we didn't have the manufacturing hub. We were happy with our service industry, that yes, we are growing with a service, and service industry was really growing. But we had that potential of manufacturing. We had shown to the world that yes, we could manufacture something. It's not that 1,000 years back we used to manufacture and used to export to the entire globe, but even 20, 30 years back, we had very good manufacturing. We had very good manufacturing brains. Unfortunately, that time it was a different turn. But now, fortunately, the government is also saying that yes, India will become a manufacturing hub. The Prime Minister himself is saying that vocal for local, Atmanirbhar Bharat. So this is the opportunity. If we have the innovative mind, we can engage this. Let me quote very few examples, 1 or 2 examples, which are very simple, which are very common examples. There was a person in Bangalore. One day he thought that he should have kind of a fried onion fried onion with his food. He tried to search. He tried to find here and there that whether he could get the fried onion. He couldn't get that. So then he did the experiment on his own. He took that a kadhai, big kadhai, that oil and all, and then he tried to make some fried onions. And with the fried onions, he went to some hotel chains and tried to sell that. Initially, there was a very discouraging experience for him because they said, "Oh, I mean, what we are going to do with the fried onions and all." But I'm talking about this during this Corona period itself. He was, I mean, just before Corona period, he did that, and then he grown up in this entire Corona period. But he didn't lose his patience, and he started working on that. Today, he is a big name in the food industry in South. His name is, though he is doing a lot in the South, he's basically a Bengali person. Satyajit Roy. He's not Satyajit Ray. He is a Satyaji Roy. And his company's name is EGK Foods. You can Google that and find out. EGK Foods. And basically his specialty is onion, fried onion, and like that. Today, he is producing 100 tons capacity, is a 100-ton capacity daily. His turnover is enormous. So he just kept an innovative mind, started working on that, did something. He had to put a lot of efforts, and today he established his brand. I know a girl, or rather, the girl who is just married and went to US. She was good at the drawing and all. She, coincidentally, she is from my hometown, Jabalpur. She is in US. What she is doing? She is creating the designs for mehendi, and she releases those mehendi designs every week on her paid platform. So every design is a paid design. One can buy the design, but the charges are very small, very few. But she can get a volume. Earlier, she used to get the clients only from the Indian and Pakistani community because both of them were fond of the mehendi and all. But then the Americans are very much interested into that. For them, it's a tattoo, and that too also a tattoo which can be removed also. So they are very well interested into that. It's a major business. It's not a small. That's what I'm quoting this. It's a major business. In the Corona, let me quote a very small example. That if we think that yes, we can do it, we change the world. There is a farmer in Bhusawal. He was a small town near Bhusawal. It's not even from the Bhusawal, between the Bhusawal and Jalgaon. He has a very small town. During this Corona period, when the Corona was that started and lockdown started and all, he had a lot of bananas. He had huge banana. He was farming the bananas, and then he realized that banana is a perishable fruit, so he can't store the bananas. So he can't really sell because in the lockdown everything was almost in the lockdown first phase. Everything was almost closed. There's no transportation. There was no shops open and everything. So he took a decision. He said, okay, what we'll do, we will process banana. So he, with the help of his family members, he collected all his family members, near, dear and all. He said, okay, we'll make the banana chips. We'll process the banana, we'll make the banana chips. He made the banana chips, proper professional banana chips. During even the lockdown period, he tried to find out the packaging. He did a good packaging. And when the unlock started, he started selling it. And he said, it is his own version, his own verbatim. He said that whatever I would have gained by selling 100% bananas, even if I would have sold 100% bananas, what I have produced, now what, after processing the banana chips and all, what I'm getting is 2.4 times of what I otherwise I would have got it after selling the banana. And he said that now this gave me a new direction that next year onwards, I will not sell bananas. I will process banana. I'll make the banana chips and some other banana items, and then I will sell it because that's a value addition, and I could do that. These are very small examples, very small examples. But these examples tell us that if we think we have that potential, we Indians have that potential, we Indians have that brain, it's only the determination wherein we are little lacking. PP kit, I told you the example. If no one have, I mean, if Corona scenario would not have been there, it never stuck into our mind that yes, we should manufacture the PPE kits. But that's a major business today. So, point here is that we should consider this as an opportunity. But there is a rider, I mean, there is a clause connected with this. That is, we have to take efforts. It's not that we are sitting idly, yes, it gave the opportunity and immediately we'll become rich and all. Nothing is going like that. We have to put our efforts, and that too also efforts in all the strength and all the mind and everything. We have to concentrate ourselves. If we don't do that, we will lose this opportunity. Again, I'm going back and quoting that example of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. If Shivaji Maharaj would have thought on the 10th November 1659 that, okay, I've killed Afzal Khan, and yes, it was a major crisis on Swarajya. तो स्वराज्य का संकट दूर हो गया है. Now I can relax. I mean, relax in the sense that ठीक है, एक दो दिन आराम करते हैं. Let's see that what had happened and all, and then let's consider. And still, we would have worshipped Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Yes, he did a major job. Killing Afzal Khan was not a small issue at all. It was a major thing. It was major news for the entire country, because the entire country was watching that how Shivaji will get totally finished. That didn't happen. Shivaji killed that. So even if Shivaji would have killed there and story would have ended there for the time, things would have been okay for us. But he was Shivaji Maharaj. For next 18 days, day and night, he fought each and every fort. He fought each and every village in that area, and he took Panhalgarh, Kille Panhala, which was a major fort and very difficult to conquer. He did that. Similarly, we all have to take those efforts. We have to make our mindset that yes, this is an opportunity and we shouldn't lose it. But for that, we have to work little hard. Narayan Murthy ji recently said something on this COVID period. 2 months back, couple of months back, his version was published. He said, and I like that. I may not subscribe every views and thought of Narayan Murthy ji, but one thing which he said was very prominent and apt for this situation. He said, if we have to come out from the situation, that also in a better manner, if we have to really consider this an opportunity, we have to work 60 hours a week. Now, in a retrospect ourselves, just think that is it possible? Whether we can do it or whether we are doing it. It is possible. Yes, 60 hours in a week is not much. 10 hours a day and 6 days a week. Still, you can have the holiday on the 7th day. 10 hours is not much. We can do that. But we should make our mindset such that, yes, we can work for 10 hours a day. And then, really, if we are focused in our work, really we are working 10 hours a day, yes, we will engage this opportunity. Now, and opportunity is here and there. Just we have to create our innovative mind. During this COVID period, Corona period, there are 4 students from Belgaum. They were the engineering students. They have created a robo which can serve during this COVID period, because that distancing, physical distancing, and other hygiene things and all those things are there. So it was the robo who could do that, and who did that. Then when they showed the first robo, people like that, and there are 5-6 robos they manufactured during this period and they sold it. So it is how we think we create ourselves. and tried to make this as an opportunity. So my point here is that whether we are really geared up for that, whether we have made our mindset for that. 1.5 months back, I was taking a lecture for the, or rather, I was addressing few senior faculty members from IIIT, and that institute is very good institute, uh, large institute, and it has a collaboration with Japan. Japanese universities and Japanese industries are funding this institute. A lot of collaborations are there. Here, students are going there. Japanese people are coming to this IIIT and all. So that's going on. I just asked a question. I said, look, since last around 5-6 years, we have the collaboration with this institute and the Japanese institutes and Japanese industry. How many of you have understood Japanese language? How many of you are capable to speak in Japanese or can understand Japanese? To my surprise, there are only 3 or 4 professors or lecturers who were having little bit about Japanese. None of them was really expert in Japanese. No, this is not the way. We have to learn, because if we want to make a global leader, try to learn any foreign language which you could do it. Whether it's a Spanish, whether it's a French, whether it's a German, whether it's a Japanese, try to learn that. If we want to really set up ourselves as a global leader, we have to understand their market size, their market patterns, their marketing mindset. We have to understand. That's what Chinese did. That Chinese mapped Indian industry up to the village level. They had the entire data, and they used to send the emails to all the prospective clients in India. I've seen their emails. So like that hard work, one has to do that. But I'm sure, if we can do this, the entire world is looking to us, as a prospective global leader. And we have shown, with whatever example I've told you, that we have shown that yes, we have the capacity, and we can deliver that, and we can, like whatever you call it, Atmanirbhar Bharat. We have proved ourselves. So if we all determine ourselves that yes, we engage this opportunity, we will work hard, maybe 60 hours a week or even more than that. There are a lot of opportunities are coming. Only some periods, some 3-4 months were little here and there, but still India was progressing, but little here and there was there. But the entire economy is coming into the track, and we will have a very good future immediately after this. Whatever that this situation may have a little bit stabilized, then we'll have very good future. And that's why I recall a quote from RBI Governor, Dr. Shaktikanta Das. Around 2 to 3 months back, he was speaking into one of these webinars organized during the COVID period. He had given a very good saying. He said that tough times never last. Tough times never last. Only tough people and tough institutes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Not getting voice.
Are you able to hear now? Okay. Okay. Some problem with the headset possibly.
Okay, but you are audible properly.
Yes. Uh, you have quoted a lot of examples and given us the direction about what we can do once we set our goals, once we are ready to take the efforts. And in many respects, we compare ourselves with China. And both India and China have one common factor is that the huge population of these countries, which is more or less like a captive consumption. And of course, we have one advantage over China in the sense that, as you said, we are more tech savvy and also language, the international language English, we speak better than most of the Chinese do. So, how much these factors contribute to whatever is going to happen in the future? And also, there is a small dimension that the Chinese average age is higher. That is, the old age population in China is more, and comparatively, the age of India is younger. So, in India, younger population is more. So, how far these factors contribute to whatever is going to shape in the next few years? Of course, that is further uh, aided by the coronavirus and epidemic which is prevalent just now. So, can you throw some light on that?
Yeah, sure. And I think there's a very good point which you have raised that when we compare with China, there are a lot of plus and minus points are there. First of all, what they did in last few years means from 1995 when they really grown themselves properly. They have invested more and more into the infrastructure, and that's why they had some good infrastructure. The entire China, they tried to give thrust on the industry, and they tried to capture the global market. That's what's more important. They tried to capture the global market. Somehow, we never have cultivated our mindset that we could be a export oriented country. Our major thrust was how to curtail import and like this, but whether we can export more, that was not much of the mindset of even the uh, whosoever was our leaders earlier. But now I think that mindset has changed, and that is making a major difference in the world economy. And as you rightly pointed out, that this is our strength. At least for next few years, this is our strength that we are the most youngest nation in the world. That's why with the this kind of a population, chunk of the population, and we have the relatively young country. So the young country can literally do a lot many things. It has an enthusiasm, it has a zeal, it can have that kind of determination to do lot many things. That's one part of it. Second part of it, it's more active country because more active number of people were there because the young generation is there. I think with that, because today with the China and India, there is a major difference. We can't say that yes immediately we can surpass China, but so whatever China is inside, it has disintegrating inside, which a lot of news are not coming out. But if we integrate it properly, we are very strong enough, and we can do some export this thing. I'm damn sure that in next few years we will have much better edge than the China. Yes.
Also, I think though China was a major producer, there were always doubts about the quality of the product. And the developed countries, the products which come out from USA, Germany, countries like that, they are known for their quality. So, are we up to that mark as far as quality is concerned? We may replace China in the terms of cheap labor cost, but can we produce the same quality to compete with other countries other than China?
I think this is the to the point you asked, because yes, I fully agree with you that without quality you can't really sustain in the market. That's what in the Chinese products are also happening. Let us look back, long back. Immediately after the World War, Japanese product quality was also not good. Initially, I'm talking. But Japan has improved a lot. And today, quality is Japan. Quality is German, like that. We quote an example that the kind of quality which they produce is fantastic. Similarly, the South Korea. Initially, South Korean quality was not good. Very poor, very bad. But South Korea has also improved. And nowadays, like Samsung phone and all, we can quote so many examples of South Korean companies. They have improved. So if we compare South Korean companies 10, 15 years back and now, we'll find that there is a major difference in the quality improvement. So I fully agree and 100% agree with you that we have to do the quality improvement. So if we compromise with the quality, we can't be a global leader. So we have to give the thrust on the quality, and that's precisely when I quoted the first example regarding the PPE kits. For the PPE kits, government didn't allow each and every manufacturer to start manufacturing PPE kit because there was a scarcity of the PPE kits. No, they said we will certify you. So government of India certified the PPE kit manufacturers. They saw that yes, whether they are manufacturing as per the standards, and then they, they they allowed them to manufacture, and that's the result. Today we are exporting, and none of the export is today. Anyone said that okay, it is not good quality and all. So it is accepted everywhere. So yes, if we have to improve the quality at every level, that will be the mantra for the success in the future. Yes.
And now that all these opportunities are opening up, do we have the infrastructure in place, like incentivizing the new entrepreneurs, having the proper skill sets, building up educational institutes to pass on those skill sets to the younger generation? So are we really doing all that? Is that the focus right now?
Yeah, good. Yes, that's a major point, that infrastructure, skill set and all. We may say, okay, that so many companies are coming to India, but whether we are really geared up for that. So there are two levels we have the problem. One is that bureaucracy. So people were really worried that so many companies are really asking Indian government that they would like to invest, they would like to come, they would like to start manufacturing in India, and that's actually every day happening. But bureaucracy is own nature, and it will take some time to change the bureaucracy or change the mindset of the bureaucracy. It's not every bureaucracy is wrong, but some kind of the legacy systems which we have got from the Britishers, that legacy system is still going on. But I could see since last few years, 5-6 years, or 5-10 years, I should say, there is a major change in the bureaucracy. The new young IPS officers are coming, who have that kind of global aspects. They want to do something good, and if we can, and if they can get a motivated leader, then this bureaucracy can also change a lot. Second thing is that whatever we try to implement, even like these roads, highways, and expressways, and so many things, that need to be ultimately executed by the bureaucracy and all, which is anyway happening today. We have seen that yes, infrastructure is going on. So that infrastructure, yes, we are creating. We are in the right path, I should say. We are today still right from how much electricity we are generating. If we compare this criteria between China and India, we are even not matching up to that. We are lower. Infrastructure wise, we are not matching that. We are lower, but still we are going into that direction. The direction is right, correct, and I'm damn sure that whatever skill set we have, and one of the major point of India's, let me tell you, in India we use a word called jugaad. Jugaad. This is a very famous word. All over India we basically use that, and that is a mantra for the Indians. I must say, I've traveled so many countries, and I found that Indians can find the answers of any query or any questions or any trouble, any problem very easily. And that is why that in Corona period, we have seen that so many new innovations, so many new aspects, and so many new things are basically coming in. So Indians can learn quickly, and that's the major asset for India. That's what I feel.
Now, especially in the light of what is happening on the China border, now My voice is audible, sir?
Yes, audible, audible. I can hear. Yes.
Uh, uh, I was asking regarding the comparison.
China border. Yes.
What is happening on the China border, and the
Yes, yes, yes.
atmosphere has heated up. And
Yes.
because of that, there are a lot of emotional appeals about boycotting China products.
Yes.
So, how far this is relevant in terms of a real difference in the trade or the foreign account deficit? As you said, we are in deficit as far as the international trade is concerned. So, how far this is relevant? Is this really workable, or this is just an emotional appeal?
Well, no, I think it's not emotional appeal. It is really workable. It is really working. And during this, even the festival, this Ganpati festival and all, I generally used to read Global Times and all, the Chinese dailies and all. These are all government controlled dailies, so they will not write like that. But still, somewhere you will get an source from that. If you read the newspaper from Taiwan and all, then we'll get some news from China, and they are really shaking. So, well, in the comparing the entire business which China is doing with the world, Indian uh, Indian share is not much. That India can really just boycotting Chinese product. India can really shake the Chinese. That's not the case. But it's a global phenomena against China. That's number one. Number two is that whosoever industry giants or whosoever industry people who are dealing with India, they are now having this problem. So all the superficial items, small, fancy, and all items, they are blocked. I mean, no Indians is now buying them. Only few high-tech products, including some chemicals, which are required for some pharma industry and all, they may continue for a couple of years, I feel. But for that also there is a split inside the Indian industrialist that why should we import from China? We can have our own like that. So that will have an impact, and that will certainly have an impact. And I think what China is doing in the border, there are a lot of dimensions are there. One of the dimension is this: China is somehow getting problem or pressurized on the economical front from India. So that is one of them, because today investments are coming to India. It's not going to China. China investment are people taking out, and at the same time, we are not buying from them and like that. So this is giving a pressure on China, certainly.
Well, also it has been a very informative session. Just as a parting note for our students who are listening to all this, what would be your message? How should they prepare to grab these opportunities? What are the skills and what are the entrepreneurial skills that they should try to acquire in order to get benefits of this opportunity? What is your message for our students?
Good point. Yeah. What I feel is that in this post-corona scenario, which I just mentioned, that we have a lot of opportunities, but we have to engage them. For that, we should be prepared ourselves. Now, what kind of preparation we should have? First of all, try to excel in any one of the skill set. Do not be master of all. Jack of all, master of none. You should choose yourself. Try to learn any foreign language if you can, any language, because there is enormous scope in the world. Try to excel in any one of area. Even in business management you are doing, even in accounting you are doing, even if this you are doing, try to excel in one area and try to focus on that more and more. And as I said, that we have to work hard. It's not that opportunities are coming, a lot of investment is coming, so we can do like Sri Narayan Murthy ji has said that 60 hours a week, at least minimum 10 hours a day, honestly, wherever we are working. If we are students, we should study for 10 hours. I must say like that. If you are working somewhere, then work for try to work for 10 hours, try to work little more. And by doing this, by increasing the skill set like this, by working hard, and the third, which is most important, is that try to use your innovative mind. You may have different ideas, try to engage them. And one thing which I certainly would like to say, what Swami Vivekananda has said, that keep patience in your mind. And with that patience, just be mad, पागल हो जाइए आप उस पेशेंट को लेकर. उत्तिष्ठत जागृत प्राप्त वरान्नि बोधता. जब तक वो हासिल नहीं होता, until unless you get that your goal, be mad, try to have that patience. I'm damn sure you will get the success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We'll go for vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Myself, Professor C. Kishore Wankhede, and I am here to propose vote of thanks on the occasion of celebration of completed 40 glorious years of Satish Pradhan Jnana Sadhana College in the field of education. In this celebration, we are going to conduct 40 unique programs in this academic year, that is 2020-21. Out of these 40 programs, we just completed 4th program organized by Department of Accountancy on the topic Post-Corona Opportunities for Young India, with a mission to motivate young Indians and young entrepreneurs. For today's program, our keynote speaker, Mr. Prashant Paul sir. We all thank you, sir, for giving such a wonderful and guiding lecture in this pandemic situation of COVID-19. I thank you once again for finding out opportunities in such a pandemic situation. I must thank to our Honorable President, Shri Satish Pradhan sir, our Honorable Secretary, Shri Kamlesh Pradhan sir, our Treasurer, Shri Satish Seth sir, and our Trustee, Mrs. Mansi Pradhan madam, for supporting and encouraging us to conduct programs for the betterment of students and for the society. I must thank to our Principal, Dr. C.D. Marathe sir, our HOD of the Department of Accountancy, Chartered Accountant Jayant Pitre sir, my colleagues Tushar Chavan sir, Sachin Puranik sir, Mugdha madam, Sarika Sagar madam, Abhinandan sir, technical team, and all other faculty members and students who directly or indirectly contribute for conducting this wonderful program. Finally, without participants, any program cannot be called as successful. So all my dear participant students, faculty members, teaching and non-teaching staff, thank you very much. With this, I conclude my vote of thanks and announce that our 4th program is over here. Thank you.